people get along. Living next door to people seems to be such a problem for so many people in this country. Let's talk to comedian Luke Stephen. Good afternoon, Luke.
Good afternoon, Kevin. Can I just say, if you enjoy nude canoeing, you do you. Don't let anyone tell you not to do it.
No, I know. Well, you know, it's my hobby, and I don't see why I get persecuted for it. I'm just off for a row now, actually.
I'll come join you.
I can see the River Thames down there. I can't wait to get my clothes off and get into a kayak. We're dealing with that story in a minute. But why can't people get along? What is it about living next door to someone that seems to be so problematical for so many people?
The trouble is, I think most people like to think of themselves as quite reasonable, but you can't help it if you live next to a lunatic. Some people just love the drama. They've got nothing else going on. Like, I don't know Joanne, but I bet she hasn't got a hobby. Like,
well, she has, throwing bricks at her neighbours.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. That's it. That's her only hobby. That's the only thing that's got going on. Like, do you ever meet someone and they'll tell you, I had a nightmare of a day. I had an argument with this person on Twitter. Had a row with this person on the train. You never guess what the person in Sainsbury's said to me. And it's like, you are the common denominator here to all of these problems. Yes. Some people just absolutely love an argument and a row, and they like to think that they're better than someone. They can get something over somebody. And I think that is a big problem there. And if you're quite reasonable, like, there's no reasoning with Joanne. You can't say, can you not spit in my face, please? Which is one of the things she does on that video. That woman is absolutely chaos.
Yeah, any fear you could not throw a kitchen cabinet at me? That would be nice if you desisted from that activity. But she's clearly been driven crazy by what she sees as an infringement on her domestic rights. And that's what I think is at the heart of all of this. I mean, my neighbours right now where I live, lovely people, no problem with my neighbours. However, I have lived in places where the neighbours have been a problem. And what it is, what I always discerned about these people is they cannot stand even a scintilla of discomfort to them. So if you park sort of 1 inch into their parking space, which does them no harm at all, it's like red rag to a bull. They go berserk. That's my parking space. You know, they cannot stand, or they are not prepared to accept any kind of compromise. Now, getting along with people, living next door to people, living with people, of course involves compromise, doesn't it?
Of course it does, But you get people with that attitude. It's my house, I pay to live here, I can do whatever I want. And you can't reason with something like that. Like, years ago, my ex-girlfriend and we used to live below an alcoholic elderly couple. And it was
I think that was me and my wife, actually.
I knew you looked familiar. That's exactly what it is. But we told them once, we could keep hearing Emmerdale blare through our ceiling. And we knocked on the door once and said, look, can you please turn it down?
So they drank that much, they watched Emmerdale.
Yeah.
Blimey, they really were drunks, weren't they?
Yeah.
So go on.
So we asked them to turn it down, and then the next day they'd cut our washing line down with all our clothes on it. And it's like,
sorry.
What? We were so reasonable what we requested. And then it was just war from then on. They kept on slamming doors. Music was being blared constantly. But, you know, at one point, they called the police on each other. That's how bad they were, this couple.
I tell you, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Interestingly, so Joanne Shreeves and her neighbours, Sandra Durden and Trevor Dempsey, used to be friends. They used to get on very, very well. And then what happened is that, I think it was Trevor, accidentally reversed his car into a bollard or some sort of concrete post between their two gardens. And he just repaired it. And she went berserk, this Joanne, because he didn't consult her. So it's interesting the way that a lot of these neighbourly wars, I've seen Channel 5's Neighbours at War, and nearly every single one of them, their stories start with, we used to be friends. So friendship quickly dissolves to a kind of neighbourly hatred.
Yeah, that's why you don't make friends with your neighbours. It doesn't need to be done. I've got like 6 friends in my life. I don't need any more. If anyone wants to chat to me, I'm a little bit suspicious. Like, when we first moved into this place, this old lady was like, I was so glad you've moved in. The couple before here were terrible. And I was like, I don't know about this. This is already a red flag to me. And I was 100% correct. Don't make friends with your neighbours. Don't have them over for dinner, because then you've got no reason to fall out. Keep yourselves to yourselves, live your own lives, and then you'll be golden. The fact that she kicked off about that pillar being nipped over as well, that could have been anything. That woman wanted an argument, regardless of... If it wasn't that, it would have been something else for years down the line.
That's what people say to me. I couldn't live in London. You know, nobody knows each other. You know, even people who people who live next door to each other don't know each other. I say that's the beauty of it.
It was a weird thing during lockdown. We all had those masks on the train, and people said, "Oh, it's such a shame." We used to talk to each other on the train.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. We didn't say a word to each other on the train. No one said anything to each other.
Yeah, and now they say, "Could you put a mask on, please, or take it off?" But you're right. You know, that's the one argument I've heard to make me support the idea of masks, not having to talk to other people on the train.
Yeah, we keep ourselves to ourselves. That's what we need to be doing. But also, in one of those videos as well, there's a bit where Joanne Shreeves, when she lobs the cement over, she does it in front of her dad. Can you imagine? I would never do anything in front of my dad that he could tell me off for still as a grown man. I just think that there's something there in the parenting there which he has no respect for anybody. I mean, even you, Kevin, would you do something foul in front of your parents?
No, because they're dead.
Sorry, God.
But no, I wouldn't have done
I'm
in the
so sorry.
Sorry, it was years ago. Don't worry. But I wouldn't have done anyway. Luke, fantastic to talk to you. Thank you so much, mate. That's Luke Stephen, comedian. And when we come back, kayakers. That's later, but also we'll be paying tribute to